At the class reunion. Because I was late. I had to sit next to the campus heartthrob. Someone urged me to drink. And I declined politely. Sorry. I'm preparing for pregnancy. So I can't drink. That person then turned around to clink glasses with the campus heartthrob. He poured a glass of plain water, and said with an apologetic look, Sorry. My wife is preparing for pregnancy. So I'm not allowed to drink. The night was getting darker. It was clear today. And with the urban environmental creation, surprisingly, a continuous starry sky could be seen in the urban night sky for the first time. Someone in the WeChat group had been urging all the time. There were red lights all the way. And the taxi moved and stopped. Finally, I arrived at the Moran Hotel before 8 o'clock. The Moran Hotel is one of the most luxurious hotels in the city. Most of the people coming in and out are important figures. And the parking lot outside the hotel entrance is full of luxury cars. I got out of the car and saw Leo's flamboyant Maybach at a glance. Unlucky. Why did he also come to this damn high school class reunion? This reunion was very inexplicable. The advocate, He Kai-yuan, was originally the bottom-ranked student in our class, and the only one in our class who dropped out of school. However, he was lucky in terms of wealth. After leaving school, he met a benefactor. After a series of ups and downs, he has now become a well-known local boss in the city. So this reunion seems to be a reunion after a long separation. But in fact, it is to show off his wealth to his old classmates and receive their admiration at the same time. If it weren't for the overtime work that left me without dinner and the urging in the group, I wouldn't have come. But what was Leo doing here? He didn't even speak in the group? Was he here to show off his newly bought Patek Philippe a limited edition watch? Thinking like this, I was already pushing open the door of the private room in my 10-centimeter high heel shoes with a clicking sound. The private room was very lively. A group of people hadn't seen each other for a long time and were chatting happily. Seeing me arrive, the originally noisy private room was quiet for a moment. And a group of people's eyes all fell on me at once. Hikai immediately stood up to greet me. Long time no see. Beauty Sue. As expected. The former class flower is still a class flower. Even your appearance is like the grand finale. I was about to reply when a girl's sour voice came from the side. Oh. Our Shine Beauty has been a proud little peacock since high school. It seems that she hasn't changed at all. It's so good. Unlike me. I've been polished by society long ago. Someone beside her echoed, What's so great about being a class flower? The campus heartthrob didn't arrive as late as her either. The two who were talking had been very close since high school and had disliked me in high school. They had taunted me a lot for ballet. Just didn't expect that after so long, they were still so childish. I wasn't angry at all. I regarded this kind of behavior as the performance of jealous people. I didn't reply. I looked around the environment and unexpectedly met his eyes. The sleeves of his casual suit were half rolled up, his hand was resting on the table. And his index finger was slightly curled, tapping the table casually. It seemed that he was in a good mood. Yes. His ex-girlfriend was being attacked by the crowd. How could he not be happy? Because I was late. There was only one empty seat left next to Leo in the whole room. I sneered and reluctantly sat down next to Leo. No one noticed the hostile atmosphere between Leo and me. Someone joked, Sure enough. It's really pleasing to the eye when a handsome man and a beautiful woman sit together. After so many years. I'm already bald. But Leo is still so handsome. Ordinary people wouldn't dare to sit next to him. Many girls in the room had their eyes on Leo. But none of them could come and sit here. After all, although Leo was very flamboyant, he was really good-looking. In addition, in high school, Leo was almost deified by all the girls in the school. He was like a scholarly god who was cold and aloof from worldly affairs. Someone who could only be admired from a distance but not be played with. So although many people's hearts fluttered when they saw Leo, no one dared to sit next to him. And I became the unlucky one who was forced to sit here. He was tall with long legs. Sitting in front of this large round table. He looked a bit cramped, and his long legs had to be bent to one side. If I moved a little, I could touch his legs. It was muggy in summer, and I was wearing a short skirt. The heat from his legs could easily be transmitted through his suit pants. I leaned to the side unnoticeably several times, but still touched his legs. If he wasn't expressionlessly playing with his mobile phone, I would have suspected that he was doing it on purpose. I gritted my teeth and tried my best to restrain my displeasure. "Hello, classmate Leo. Could you please move your legs?" Leo put down his mobile phone very elegantly, glanced at me sideways, and his voice was low and magnetic. "Sorry. I didn't notice." This made the girls opposite feel excited. I pursed my lips and whispered to myself, "Stop pretending." After everyone arrived, the dishes were served one after another. It could be seen that Hikai had spent a lot of money. It was a 6-star hotel, and all the dishes served were signature dishes. Eating was the purpose of my coming here. A group of people were chatting happily, but I didn't look up and just focused on eating. I was very happy. What was even happier was that every time the dishes I liked were passed in front of me, I was really the chosen one for eating. Hikai shuttled among the seats of everyone, persuading people to drink. Now that he was successful, even those who couldn't drink much would give him face and say simple light words like, "Promote me someday." By the way, soon he came to me. "Come on. Let me toast the class flower." But then again, the class flower was late. Shouldn't you drink 3 extra glasses as a punishment? What kind of bullshit logic was this? I had a poor capacity for alcohol and my drinking behavior was not good either. So of course I wouldn't drink. After declining a few times, Hikai was in high spirits and had drunk some wine. So he was a bit persistent. "What do you mean? The class flower doesn't give me face? Do you look down on me? Wasn't this moral blackmail?" Seeing that this person was really difficult to deal with, I simply put down my chopsticks and took out my trump card. "Sorry. I'm preparing for pregnancy, so I can't drink." Sure enough, as soon as this reason came out, Hikai didn't dare to persuade me anymore, but just felt sorry. "Oh, the class flower is already married? Which lucky guy married our class flower? What a pity. For the sake of the unborn baby, I don't dare to persuade you to drink this glass." After saying that, he turned around and raised his glass in front of the lucky guy who married me. Will our famous campus heartthrob give me some face? How dare he persuade anyone to drink? Leo looked aloof from worldly affairs and was thin and cold. But in fact, he was extremely amazing in some aspects. His drinking capacity was one aspect, and as for the other aspect, it was not convenient to disclose. Just when I thought Leo could drink him under the table in one go, Leo slowly shook his head. What he said was even more astonishing. "Sorry. My wife is preparing for pregnancy, so I'm not allowed to drink." At the moment when his words fell, it seemed that I could hear the sound of the girls in the class having their hearts broken. Hikai was completely dumbfounded. He tremblingly pointed at us with his finger. I smelled a sense of danger from his disbelieving eyes. I kept scolding Leo in my heart for talking nonsense. We were secretly married, and now we were about to get divorced. But he still said such suggestive words. Nowadays, people are not stupid. They must be able to guess that there was something fishy between us. I had even prepared some lies to deal with it. However, unexpectedly I really met some stupid people. Hikai's voice trembled. "Damn it. What's the situation between you two? Why are you both getting married so young? Among the classmates in the class, you two were the best in study. What books did you two read? Marriage certificates." His one sentence successfully led the thoughts of the classmates astray. Everyone started talking. Yes, when everyone gets married, they will send a notice in the class group. Why did you keep it a secret? I wonder which lucky guy married the campus heartthrob. How lucky he is. Someone came up to me and asked, "By the way, Shine, is it convenient to show us your husband's photo? Just to satisfy our curiosity." I smiled slightly. "Forget it. I have a preference for ugly people. My husband is so ugly that he can't be seen. And I'm afraid of scaring you. That person was not reconciled, and went to Hikai again. Then the campus heartthrob has high standards. Can you show us what kind of beauty has won you over? Hikai thought for a while. Forget it. She is very shy. If someone looks at her on the road, she will be shy for a long time. I felt like there was a lump in my throat. I thought, Leo, don't be too ridiculous. This topic was difficult to continue. Although everyone was curious, Leo and I were not very interested. So they didn't ask further. Hikai was rejected twice in a row, so he drank the glass of wine in one gulp. Then, his eyes fell on the watch on Leo's wrist. His eyes lit up. Damn it. Campus heartthrob. Are you rich? How can you wear a house in the city center on your hand? Leo was really a young master from a wealthy family. However, he was low-key. In high school, all the clothes he wore were very ordinary looking, and he even rode a mountain bike to school every day. So few people could associate him with being extremely rich. I also found out later that each of those seemingly ordinary clothes cost thousands of yuan. Leo calmly took a sip of water, his brows and eyes full of calmness, and said softly, "It's fake. It's not worth much." TSK. Such good acting skills. Those who didn't know would really think it was a cheap item from Yue. His answer made Hikai very satisfied, and Hikai breathed a sigh of relief. After all, for someone who came to show off. Of course, he couldn't accept that others were living better than him in his heart. He generously patted Leo on the shoulder and said loudly, "Oh, don't be too vain in life. Take it step by step. If you're not doing well, why don't you come and work for me? I'll give you a salary 3,000 yuan higher than what you're getting now. How about that?" Leo was unmoved. His brows slightly furrowed, and his voice was clear, "No need. I'm raising pigs now, and the business is good." Me. I suspect he was scolding me. But I have no proof? His words made Hikai feel embarrassed. He smiled symbolically twice. That's good. Getting involved in an unknown industry and helping rural revitalization. Yes. After raising pigs, I found that she doesn't like to eat cabbage. I couldn't eat anymore. Leo, the cold-hearted villain. He was taunting me in a roundabout way. I picked up my bag and stood up. Sorry. My husband is a clingy person and has already been urging me. See you all when there's a chance. Unexpectedly, the moment I stood up, Leo also stood up. Sorry. I also have to go home. My wife is prone to overthinking, and it's very difficult to coax her when she's angry. Why was he leaving when I left? What a clingy person. He was clearly a copycat. Behind me came the gossipy voices of my classmates. Damn it! How could there be such a coincidence in the world? Do you think they might have been secretly dating? Impossible. Another firm voice replied. There's no way between them. The probability of them being together is lower than finding 1 million yuan on the road. Yes. The reason why he was so sure was not because of intuition. It was because no one would ever associate the two of us together. Because back then, everyone in the class knew that Leo and I didn't get along. To be precise, I hated Leo, and Leo was too arrogant to bother with me. Before high school, I had always been an outstanding student in the grade, firmly sitting in the first place in the class. Until I met Leo, I felt an overwhelming gap. He was the first, and he always beat me by more than 10 or 20 points every time. No matter how hard I tried, I could only narrow the gap by 3 to 5 points at most. As a result, I was deeply hurt inside and felt frustrated for a long time. I even went home and cried secretly under the quilt. So even though all the girls in the school liked Leo, it didn't stop me from hating him. Yes, no one who is always second place doesn't hate the first place. Even when my classmates jokingly asked me if I liked Leo because I paid so much attention to his grades, I patted my chest confidently and promised, impossible. I would rather like the stray male dog at the village entrance than him. This sentence was overheard by Leo, who happened to pass by. But I was spineless and not determined enough. In the repeated head-to-head competitions, I gradually lost myself in his good looks and strength and successfully changed my mind. Then I felt slapping myself in the face really hurt. I started to click on Badoo and make up for my knowledge. How to pursue the boy you like. The first answer on Badoo back then was, you must have your own shining points. Be different. And don't lose yourself. I had an idea. The people who like Leo in the whole school could fill the football field. If I also liked him like a little fangler, wouldn't I be drowned in the vast sea of people? If you want to stand out, you must do the opposite. So I chose to continue to maintain my persona of hating him and fighting him to the end. Behind the scenes, I actually put a lot of effort into it. For example, in Chinese class, when the teacher asked us what our favorite poem was, I raised my right hand high and recited that poem, Yulin Ling Autumn Farewell Bao Yu Yang, in front of the whole class. Thinking of the journey ahead, 1,000 li of misty waves, and the evening mists heavy over the vast sky. This sentence had been written in my diary for many years. But unfortunately, Leo was like a blockhead. He only had eyes for studying, and he seemed to seriously regard me as a strong competitor. Before the competition, he would even take the initiative to lend me his notebook and sparingly encourage me. Good luck this time. Was it useful? I read his notebook all night until it was almost torn apart. But the first place was still out of reach. When I returned his notebook, I searched for the equation of the heart-shaped curve on the internet and secretly wrote it on the last page of his notebook. But probably Leo didn't see it. Later, Leo was recommended for admission without taking the exam. I worked hard and regarded that school as my ideal place for further study. With my unremitting hard work, I finally realized my dream and was admitted to the same university as Leo. I thought things would get better in college. There were no familiar people around. I was eager to try and finally could go all out to pursue him. However, a strong rival in love emerged. Beside the basketball court, the scene of me giving water that I had rehearsed in my mind didn't happen. Someone else got in. That girl had long hair and bright eyes. She walked over bouncing Lai with a bottle of mineral water. She called him Bachen. Leo took it very naturally. He was always taciturn when facing strangers. But this time he took the initiative to chat with her. Why are you here? The girl smiled sweetly. Do I need a reason to come and see you? The sunlight fell on them just right. The flower of the neighboring college beside me, who was also eager to try, had her heart broken into pieces. She said to the girl beside her with a sad face, "Oh no. My love is about to end before it even starts. Doesn't Leo have a girlfriend? I'm heartbroken." Thank you. I feel the same. I decided to close my heart and lock my love. I deliberately stopped paying attention to Leo. When I met him on the road, I turned my head away and pretended not to know him. Later, thanks to my scatter-brained counselor, before the faculty speech contest, a counselor had already arrived at the venue but left his speech manuscript in the office. I rushed to the venue to deliver it to him. But in the backstage, I heard the conversation between the teacher of the neighboring class and Leo. Leo, such a talented young man. Do you have a girlfriend? Leo's face was calm, and he answered almost without thinking. No. Suddenly, hope rose in my heart. After all, given Leo's character, he wouldn't lie about this kind of thing. The teacher was also very pleased and patted him on the shoulder. Oh, great. The teacher has a relative's daughter, who is about your age. Thank you. My hope was dashed again. Sure enough, everyone was eyeing Leo like he was Tang Seng's flesh in the journey to the west. Tang Seng's flesh was highly desired by demons for its supposed immortality-enhancing qualities. Suddenly, the counselor appeared behind me. I wondered why I couldn't find you. What are you doing hiding here? My manuscript. I was startled. I handed over the manuscript respectfully, and missed Leo's reply perfectly. Later, An activity to get rid of troubles was held on campus. Volunteers holding boxes and letter papers could be seen everywhere. I was stopped by a cute girl. She had a sweet smile. Beautiful sister. Write down your troubles. Someone will take them away. And you won't have to be so gloomy in the future. The starting point was good. But I only had one trouble: not being able to get Leo. I sighed. Forget it. No one can take away my trouble. The little girl didn't give up. She handed the box in front of me. Then take away a trouble? The dimple on her mouth was so charming that I couldn't refuse. I symbolically took out a note from the box. I casually unfolded it, and was stunned on the spot. It was written, "I like someone, but she seems to hate me a little." This was Leo's handwriting. Everything made sense now. So the girl that day was not his girlfriend, but the person he liked. Leo was suffering from unrequited love. But looking at the girl's performance that day, she didn't seem to be hateful. Do men in love really overthink easily? But that was not the point. The point was, Leo, here comes sister. Let me influence him with love. Warm him. And make up for him. Such a good man. If that girl doesn't want him, I do. I completely started my plan to pursue him. I joined the club he was in, chatted with him casually, created chance encounters on the road, and asked him for help with difficult professional courses. Leo and I got along more and more harmoniously. Until that night's department dinner. I had a per capacity for alcohol and didn't drink a single sip from the beginning to the end. Even though the minister urged me several times, I remained unmoved. After all, I didn't know if my drinking behavior was good or not. In case I went crazy in front of Leo, I would be unable to clear my name even if I jumped into the Yellow River. Just when a group of people were having a great time eating barbecue on the roadside, my strong rival in love appeared again. The girl waved at Leo from afar and hopped over like a lively little white rabbit. The gossipy souls in the department were burning brightly. And the minister even took the lead in teasing. "You're not being fair. Kid. Don't introduce such a beautiful girl to us." Leo smiled faintly. "This is King, my friend." "Is it a friend or a girlfriend?" "You can't omit this." Before Leo could speak, King, with a slightly red face, said, "Senior brothers. Don't tease Chen. He's shy." My heart felt as if it had been hit by a heavy weight. The mutton I had just put in my mouth. I spat it out. Damn it. Why was it so sour? Leo went out with King. Under the street lamp at the corner. The girl was saying something. She looked coquettious, hugging Leo's arm and shaking it, as if she was acting cute. My vision became blurry. I even thought, what was the point of my appearance? Was it to make the girl jealous and notice Leo's goodness? But during these days of getting along, Leo didn't deliberately avoid my contact. He gave me the wrong impression. Scumbag. So I was the catalyst for their love? God. Open your eyes and look. You let such a beautiful and perfect woman like me get the supporting actress script. You're so cruel. Thinking like this. I became more and more depressed. I casually grabbed a glass of wine on the table, and suddenly tilted my head back and drank it all. The minister was dumbfounded. "Shum shum. Are you so fierce? This is 50 for degree pure white liquor." "Really? Why did I feel it was like plain water?" I took the bottle and poured another glass and drank it all in one gulp. By the time Leo came back, I had lost my senses. I was swaying on the small bench, only feeling that the table was spinning. Leo supported my waist from behind. A low, concerned voice rang out. "Why did you drink so much?" His handsome face gradually enlarged in front of my eyes, and all my pent-up grievances turned into tears and slid down. I grabbed Leo's hand, shook it, and stood up, afraid that I would fall. He followed me closely, until we walked to the tree. I pushed Leo against the tree. Courage comes with alcohol. I tiptoed and held his face and kissed him, in a venting way. I bit his lower lip, and the sweet and bloody taste spread on my tongue. Leo. This is a goodbye kiss. From now on, we'll go our separate ways. As soon as I finished speaking, Leo, who had been at my mercy, suddenly exerted force. He hooked my waist, and I was forced to lean forward. Leo bent down and took my breath away with his kiss. I was so kissed by him that I lost my bearings. The alcohol took over my brain, and I was out of my mind. Just when my consciousness was about to fade away, I heard him say, "Shine. You haven't personally solved the equation you wrote in my notebook for me. How can you part ways with me?" The scene between Leo and me at the barbecue and caused a huge stir in the department. He said that he and King were just friends. He said that the person he liked had always been me. The person written on the note was me. And the person he had liked since high school was also me. How could I resist such sweet talk? My jealousy towards King disappeared completely. And Leo and I got together. We were young and full of energy. So of course we were all over each other. However, if you often walk by the river, how can you not get your shoes wet? My menstruation was delayed. There were 2 lines on the pregnancy test stick. I was horrified. Leo held my hand and directly took me to the Civil Affairs Bureau. We got our marriage license like this. On the day we got the license, Leo took me to the hospital for a pregnancy checkup. And it turned out it was all a false alarm. The small error rate of the pregnancy test stick happened to me perfectly. At that time, I was both relieved and a little disappointed. The child in hand flew away. Since the reason for us getting the marriage certificate was really absurd and it was too early, we agreed not to make it public for now, and just be happy secretly. This hidden marriage has continued until now. However, before it has a chance to be made public, it is about to break. I want to divorce Leo. It was convenient to come, but not so easy to leave. This area is defined as a rich area. Taxis generally don't take a detour here. I have been standing at the hotel entrance for more than 10 minutes. And there is still no one accepting the order on the taxi hailing app. Leo stood silently behind me with his arms crossed, determined to see the joke through. I didn't believe it. I found the number of the taxi driver I had saved a long time ago. After making a call, I put away my phone in disappointment. The driver had 2 orders and had no time at all. Leo held the car key, and the flashy headlights of his Maybach flashed twice immediately. His deep voice rang out in the night. "Sheng Sheng. Come home with me." What home? Who is a family with him? The frustration of not being able to get a taxi made me not want to talk to him calmly at all. I sneered. "I would rather ride a pig home than take your car. Go away quickly, and don't be an eyesore here." Just as I was saying this, the phone screen lit up. It was a notification of an accepted order. It was really a godsend. I showed off and shook my phone. "Don't you think I can't leave without you?" As soon as I finished speaking, a message popped up again. The car owner canceled the order. Me. Leo has amazing eyesight. He gave a faint smile, which was extremely irritating to my ears. "It's really hard to get a taxi here. Sheng Sheng. Get in the car." Joke. How could I give in? Although taking his car is the best choice at present. But I am the toughest only with my mouth. I walked forward in high heels with big strides. "Don't worry about me. I can walk home. Can you go away quickly and stop following me?" Then I sprained my ankle. Why can't God give me some face and let me be cool for once? There was a clear click. I fell to the ground completely, and waves of pain came from my ankle. All of a sudden, half of my arrogance was extinguished. But at this moment, Leo, who is usually reserved but passionate inside, played the role of an obedient and good man. He walked steadily and reached in front of me in 3 steps, leaving me with a broad back. I gritted my teeth and took off my high heels and threw them at his back. "Leo, we are husband and wife after all. Are you going to watch me die and not help?" He looked extremely innocent. "You told me to go. I didn't dare to stay." This time I reaped what I sowed. Sure enough, men can't be relied on. I took out my phone to see the reality and planned to call for help. Just as I was dialing, my phone was taken away. Leo's tall figure loomed over me. Before I could speak, he bent down and hugged me tightly. The moment my body was lifted off the ground, due to weightlessness, I instinctively put my arms around his neck. The words I wanted to curse were swallowed back. I turned my face away and pretended to be arrogant. Didn't you say you were leaving? Why did you come back? Don't think that we won't get divorced like this. I tell you that my heart is like a rock and cannot be changed. Hey. Your car is over there. Leo paused. Didn't you say you would ride a pig back? I widened my eyes in disbelief. Am I deaf? Is Leo making fun of himself? Nestled in his arms, all around me was the faint soap fragrance on his clothes. Because I was so close, I could even hear his strong heartbeat. His chest trembled slightly with Leo's speaking movements, as if an electric current was passing through my heart. Looking up, I could only see his delicately carved jawline and high nose bridge. This face, I could never get tired of looking at it in my whole life. I simply lowered my head and buried my face in his arms. My voice was muffled. Why are you so kind? You even admit that you are a pig? Do you really think you have become a pig farming tycoon? Leo answered seriously. After all, even the classmates in the class said that a pig has taken a fancy to you. This cabbage. When we got home, my ankle was already swollen and very high. With a slight movement, it was extremely painful. Leo gently put me on the sofa, then took out the medical kit. After rubbing alcohol on his hands and rubbing for a while, he carefully put on a plaster. His movements were smooth and skillful. Those who didn't know would think he was a gold medal orthopedic doctor. He was always very serious when doing things. His eyes were focused on my swollen ankle, without being distracted. The bangs on his forehead trembled with his movements and touched his eyelashes. I used to think that a person like Leo was either ascetic or determined to stick to one thing without wavering after making a decision. So after we were together, I always thought he was deeply in love with me. Later, I realized that maybe I really thought too much. With such stunning eyes and eyebrows, even looking at a pig, he might seem affectionate. I am just a little bit good-looking and a little bit smart. I am just a bit of fun that has intruded into his life. If I hadn't been drunk that day and kissed him forcibly in front of everyone, there probably wouldn't be our future. After putting on the plaster, Leo tittied up the medical kit while telling me, take a few days off from work these 2 days. Don't walk around much. I will confiscate your high heels first. Tomorrow I will. That's enough. I waved my hand to interrupt him. If there's nothing else, I'll go back to my room. When I find a house, I'll move out. You better arrange your work quickly and then go to the Civil Affairs Bureau with me. We should cut the mess quickly to avoid long nights and many dreams. As I said this, I pulled my foot out of Leo's broad palm and was about to hop on one leg. But Leo raised his hand and firmly grabbed my foot. Forced by the force, I sat back down. Leo's face was calm, but there was a turmoil of darkness in his eyes. He looked at me fixedly. There was some unappeasable stubbornness and hurt in his expression. Shang, why do you want a divorce? My nose was sore and grievances welled up. I had to turn my head away abruptly and refuse to show weakness. What reason wouldn't work? I don't love you anymore. I'm tired of it. I love being single. Anything is fine. For the first time, I heard an uncompromising tone from him. I don't agree. I don't understand where Leo's persistence comes from. Does a man have to have one in the pot and one in the bowl to be comfortable? No girl would think of marriage as a joke. I also thought I would be happy with Leo forever. I even thought about when we would make our relationship public, when we would hold a make-up wedding, and when we would have a child. Until the appearance of a person broke my peaceful life. King. A person I deliberately don't want to mention. Regarding King, from the beginning, Leo's explanation to me was only 2 words, friend. Out of trust in Leo and being blinded by sweet love, I buried this person deep in my heart. But the scenes of her getting along with Leo still pop up from time to time and sting my heart. So when I received a message from King, my first reaction was not confidence as Leo's wife, but panic. Panic for no reason. At that moment, I realized that I cared so much. Without any small talk or beating around the bush, King got straight to the point. When will you give Chen back to me? I steadied my mind and typed almost with trembling hands. We are already married. King was very confident. I know whatever I say is useless. Do you dare to meet me tomorrow noon? We made an appointment at the coffee shop next to my company. The woman had delicate makeup and a well-tailored long dress that made her figure even more graceful. She was very different from what I saw when I was in college. She sat gracefully on the chair, stirring the coffee in her hand confidently. She looked at me with contempt. King frowned and looked me up and down. What else do you have besides this face? I am beautiful and self-aware. Then go ask Leo what he sees in me. Besides, this face of mine is really remarkable. After thinking about it all night last night, and looking at Leo's sleeping profile, I still think that I should have 100 confidence in my husband. Moreover, even if Leo breaks up with me, I can't be bullied by her here. Isn't it just pretending? Who can't do it? I crossed my arms and took the lead. Say what you want quickly. My time is very precious. King directly pushed her phone in front of me. This is my Weibo. I glanced at it infuriately, and then my body froze completely. In the past few years, they have been in contact. Chen is so nice. He accompanied me to get an IV drip in the middle of the night. The hospital at this time is so scary. It's so annoying to always be sick. Fortunately, Chen will bring me medicine. Why did it start raining all of a sudden? If I get caught in the rain, I'll catch a cold again. Chen came to bring me an umbrella. Woo woo woo. I was followed by a bad person, and was too scared to sleep. Chen came to protect me. There were pictures under each Weibo post. It was completely Leo from a girlfriend's perspective. He really looked good in any photo. At this time, women have amazing memories. I found that I could match almost every time on each Weibo post. Good friends? Indeed. Very good. So good that they could wear the same pair of pants. Why don't they go and share a bed? I felt a churn in my stomach, biting my teeth to hold back the heat in my eyes. I smiled sweetly. Whoever wants this rotten cabbage can take it. Why do you have such superiority when eating what I left? Ask me to give Leo back to you? Are you a beggar? King was stunned by my rapid-eye for words. Not seeing me in a state of despair, she was very disappointed. Are you crazy? I smiled even more. No. I just think that this insignificant thing that can't be on the stage, are quite ridiculous. After saying that, I picked up my bag and turned around gracefully. The moment I turned around, tears rolled down. What is really true? During the school camping, I got lost in the foggy mountains. With no signal on my phone, Leo searched for me, like crazy for the whole night. When I hugged him, his whole body was already wet with dew. He loves me. But why is there someone else in his love? I thought of the first time I saw King. Leo had an indifferent attitude towards everyone. Only when facing King, he took the water from King's hand so naturally and chatted with her so naturally. Does he like King? I don't know. But I can't accept this ambiguous friendship. God is always in the right scene. I also experienced being an idol drama heroine. When I was lovelorn, it rained heavily. I walked dejectedly in the rain. Suddenly, I thought of that post on King's Weibo. Then I took out my phone and called Leo. He should be at a business dinner. It was noisy all around. I held back my sobs. Leo. It's raining. Can you come and bring me an umbrella? Leo cared so much about me. Immediately after that, I heard the sound of his clothes rubbing against each other, and the sound of his leather shoes stepping on the floor. The noise in the private room was getting quieter and quieter. Leo's voice was flustered. Sheng, where are you? He didn't keep me waiting long. It was a rainy day. The journey usually took half an hour by car. But Leo arrived in 20 minutes. He held a black umbrella and walked towards me step by step. He looked at me with a pained expression. Shang, it's raining so heavily. Why didn't you find a store to shelter from the rain? You're completely drenched. You'll cry again when you have a fever and need an injection. I couldn't help thinking. When King was having an intravenous drip in the middle of the night, did he coax her in the same way? I forced a smile. Leo, did you just bring me an umbrella? Or are you worried about all the kittens on the roadside getting wet too? Maybe it was my desolate expression. Or maybe he finally saw the redness in the corners of my eyes through the rain curtain. Leo was a little flustered and held my cold hand helplessly. Shang, what's wrong with you? Let's get a divorce. After saying the word, divorce, I felt much more relaxed. Being drenched in the rain made me completely chilled. And I also roughly figured it out. There are plenty of men, especially for someone as beautiful and excellent as me. Even if I get divorced once, I can still find a good man for my second marriage. It's not like no one wants me. Why should I fight with a beggar for a man? If she likes him, she can have him. After getting drenched in the rain, I had a fever and was sick at home for 3 days. Leo had been taking care of me all the time. But I was no longer the little girl who would be moved to tears just because Leo gave me a piece of candy. I closed my heart and ignored him. As for the divorce, Leo seemed to have amnesia and didn't mention it at all. I couldn't bear it and brought it up on my own initiative. As a result, he pretended to be extremely busy. I don't have time. You don't have time. But I do. Since I had made up my mind to get a divorce, I wouldn't be in a half-hearted relationship with him. I started looking for a house. I earned a lot. But I also spent a lot. So in the 2 years since graduation, I hadn't saved much money. The worry-free, and even a little luxurious life I had now was all thanks to Leo. Therefore, there were only a few houses suitable for me. But Leo, this petty person, couldn't play fair and tried to interfere. Every time I negotiated with the landlord always changed his mind the day before I was supposed to move. This happened one after another. Even using my toes to think, I knew who was behind it. I secretly hated myself for not having Leo's powerful influence. I could only negotiate with him. Leo was completely resigned and very calm. Shang, our marriage is protected by law. I believe that whether out of humanitarianism or legal regulations, no one hopes to see a husband living alone. He was really eloquent. I held my breath. We will get divorced soon. Leo simply didn't listen to this. Then wait until after the divorce. Just divorce me. I couldn't move out. And he always said he didn't have time for the divorce. I simply gave up and moved to the guest room on my own. Becoming a stranger under the same roof as Leo. Leo said he didn't agree to the divorce. Does he have the final say in everything? I kicked him in the chest with my other strong foot. You don't have the final say. Go away. I'm going to sleep. As soon as I finished speaking, my stomach suddenly churned for no reason. A wave of nausea spread through my internal organs. I couldn't help but retch. Then Leo and I both froze. Even the air seemed to stand still. No way. No way. No way. I covered my chest and made up a very random excuse. I ate too greasy food tonight. I think. Don't overthink it. To be honest, I didn't even believe this excuse myself. Leo simply didn't listen to my lies. He threw his coat, which was casually placed on the sofa, over me, and directly picked me up horizontally. I'll take you to the hospital. The test report came out that night. I was unexpectedly going to be a mother. The baby was already 2 months old. I thought that was why I felt a bit fatter, recently, and my waist was a bit looser. It turned out to be the little thing in my stomach causing trouble. I looked at the pure white ceiling of the hospital, on the verge of crying. Good child. You've come at such a perfect time. You ask me how I feel when I find out I'm pregnant right before getting divorced? Desperate is not enough to describe it. I started to think about what to do with this baby in my heart. Should I keep it or not? If I keep it, it will be a single-parent family from birth and will inevitably be looked down upon in the future. But I can't bear to get rid of it. This is my baby. It's a masterpiece that combines excellent genes. While I was Leo came in. Not wanting to face him, I simply closed my eyes and pretended to be asleep. He just sat quietly by the bed. I had a hunch that his eyes were fixed on me all the time. Then he gently held my hand. Just when I thought he would be like the male lead in the TV drama, showing deep affection at this time and saying some love-confessing words to me, Leo said, "Sheng Sheng. Stop pretending. Your eyelashes are trembling." Me. I opened my eyes and got straight to the point. Divorce. Leo stroked my face. Let's talk. I refused to communicate. Just as I was about to raise my hands to cover my ears, Leo's words entered my ears first. I haven't had a good sleep these days. Thinking about it now, I finally understand why you want to divorce me. My ears perked up. I was actually a little curious about what he would say. So I sat up and politely extended my hand. Come on. Please share your thoughts. But I didn't expect that Leo really hit the nail on the head. He held up his phone. And what came into view was a location. Exactly the coffee shop where I met King. Leo spoke plausibly. Since I picked you up on that rainy day, you've become very resistant to me. So I guess that something must have happened that day to make you misunderstand. I drove along the route to look for clues and repeatedly checked your phone's location on that day. I found that you stopped at this coffee shop for 10 minutes. Sheng Sheng. I know you. It's very difficult to shatter your perception. So the person you met that day was King, right? My eyes suddenly widened. Was he already guilty in his heart? Or was he really that smart? I didn't reply. But Leo got the answer from my reaction. He sighed. I rejected King a long time ago. I've always regarded her as a sister. Or not even a sister. She's my benefactor. Sheng Sheng. I'm very reluctant to care about any girl other than you. I found her Weibo. I had no idea about the things she posted before. As for what she wrote on Weibo, I admit I did those things. But her expressions were too ambiguous. Sending umbrellas and medicine were all done by my assistant. Only the time when she was in the hospital, I really went there. Because she fell into the water that time, and refused to have an injection. I sneered. So? When you went, she got the injection. Are you a doctor or a nurse? Don't you think of me when you're coaxing her? Sheng Sheng. She has thalassophobia because of me. I froze. Leo and King could be considered childhood sweethearts. The two families had business dealings. And their two large villas were close in real life. King's parents were busy with the company. It could be said that King spent half of her childhood at Leo's home. King had little interest in studying since she was young. But she was amazingly talented in swimming. At a young age, she won championships in various youth group competitions. According to the normal development, she was going to be recommended to the national team. Until Leo fell into the sea. Leo had his own hobbies. And his parents were open-minded. They didn't strive to turn their son into an all-round warrior. So Leo chose his extracurricular skills according to his own will. Swimming was one of Leo's blind spots. That year when they were playing by the seaside, the adults of both families were sunbathing on the beach, while Leo and King were picking up shells by the seaside. It was originally a peaceful scene. But it was ruined by an ex-employee of Leo's family's company who had sold the company's secrets years ago. He stole the secrets and ruined his own future. And he had always hated Leo's family. Finally, when he saw alone, the man lifted the half-grown child high and threw him into the sea. The rough sea. It was King who jumped in without hesitation. But no matter how good her swimming skills were, she didn't have enough strength left. King just held on to Leo like this. By the time the rescue team arrived, both of them were almost dying. It was at this time that King got colossophobia. She didn't dare to get close to the water again. Leo always had a lifesaver filter for King. So whenever King needed help, Leo would do his best to help. Leo was grateful in his heart. But he didn't know when King's feelings for him gradually changed. Everything had a reasonable explanation. Leo held my hand tightly. Sheng. I ask myself that I have no improper thoughts about King. I told her as soon as I was with you. Since then, our contact has been very little. I just didn't expect that the little contact left would be recorded by her and become a weapon to hurt you. It's also my fault. I was too self-righteous. I thought I was innocent and above board. But I ignored your delicate feelings. I should have told you about this earlier on my own initiative. With his seamless explanation, how could I still be angry? Although the lifesaver plot is a bit cliched, it really happened to Leo. No wonder there were rumors in high school that Leo was like the legend of the blue sea. I thought it was just a nickname comparing him to a mermaid. I didn't expect the origin was here. But I still felt uncomfortable in my heart. No one wants to share their husband's love with others. Even if Leo has no feelings for her, it's still not okay. Just as I was thinking about how to express my feelings in my heart, the WeChat notification sound on my phone rang. It was King. When are you going to leave Chen alone? Give him back to me. Still the same kind of words. I typed quickly. He has fallen asleep beside me. I'll ask him tomorrow morning when he wakes up whether he wants a divorce or not. Obviously. King was very angry with me. She said something without thinking. Why do you have to break us up? You clearly know that the person he likes is me. With all the evidence in front of you. Are you still going to be stubborn? I licked my soft lips. Really? Send me 2 pictures of you to kissing, and let me have a look. People are easily deprived of their thinking ability when it comes to things they care about. Looking back now, King's acting skills were really clumsy. It was just that King had always been a thorn in my heart. So her appearance made me lose my composure, thus losing my thinking ability and falling into her trap. She had posted so many Weibo posts, but only one picture showed Leo's side face. Just as Leo said, it was on the day at the hospital. Leo was sitting far away from her, looking down at his mobile phone. King was left speechless by my retort. 1 minute later, Leo's mobile phone rang. The word King was jumping arrogantly on the screen. Leo's expression became a little embarrassed. He looked at me with a pleading look. I had no expression on my face and, imitating his style, said sparingly, "Answer it." Leo honestly turned on the speakerphone. Then King's voice, full of a sense of brokenness, rang out. "Chen, I feel so cold." It was completely different from her arrogance that day. The howling wind could be heard from the mobile phone. My heart sank. It was early summer. Where did such a strong wind come from? Sure enough, King immediately continued, "I've come to the seaside where I saved you." Chen. Can she swim? She can do what she likes. Has her own pursuits. And also has you. She has a great future. But I can't. I have nothing left. My swimming career is over. My body is broken. And you don't love me. I love you so much. How can you ignore me? Although King was very annoying, her tone was very strange. Leo also couldn't hold his temper any longer. He frowned, with a hint of severity between his brows. "We'll come to find you. Don't move." Lee naturally included me. I lifted the quilt and met Leo's eyes. Then nodded. Both King and I needed to face this knot in our hearts. Gratitude is gratitude. And love is love. They should not be confused. Leo carried me into the car. Without any hesitation, we drove straight to the seaside. The sea breeze at night was a little cool. And night and the sea merged into one, except for the lighthouse in the distance that was lit up and the silent moon in the sky. There was no other bright color. Until the car slowly drove in. The bright headlights illuminated a patch of light by the seaside. King was standing barefoot on the beach. The wind blew her long hair in disorder. She looked extremely fragile and small on the vast seashore. through the transparent front windshield. Our eyes met. Leo got out of the car first. King smiled bitterly and pointed at me. Chen, how much do you love her? Even in this place. When you come to see me, you need to bring her? Leo's voice was low. King, she is my wife. Maybe the moment she saw me, she understood that Leo and I were destined not to get divorced. Her wish had come to nothing. Everything became clear. King laughed wildly and sadly. I've been waiting for you for so many years. I've liked you since I was a child and saved your life. Have you ever liked me for a moment? King, I thought I had made it very clear. Leo always spoke in a calm tone to everyone. Unless his bottom line was really touched, he would not show any impatience. He extinguished the light in King's eyes with the calmest words. King, in the future, please stay away from me and my wife. Because you are joking with my life. After Leo finished speaking, not only was King shocked, but I was also. If the previous statement was a calm explanation, then this sentence of Leo's was undoubtedly a warning. King fell bar Leslie on the beach and burst into tears, as if she was slowly letting go. Leo then turned around and walked towards me step by step. Our eyes met with red-rimmed eyes, and we smiled at each other knowingly. Everything was left unsaid. Since that meeting by the seaside, King had disappeared from the lives of Leo and me. She also cancelled her Weibo account. I think she had completely let go. Her knot in the heart wasn't tied. And so was mine. Leo even put down his work and directly became a house husband, responsible for my 3 meals a day, and taking meticulous care of me. My belly grew as fast as a balloon being blown up, and I became round all over. I really looked like a pig, compared to my distress. Leo was in a good mood. It seems that my business of planting cabbages is also doing well. I was speechless. Seeing me pouting, Leo took the initiative to hold me in his arms and kissed me again and again. Sheng Sheng, your favorite poem is thinking of the journey ahead. 1,000 li of misty waves, and the evening mists heavy over the vast sky. Do you know my favorite? I was stunned. And then I heard Leo continue gently. In the end, who returns east first? Why bother competing? It's for shine. I couldn't help laughing. If I remembered correctly, in senior year 3, when Leo gave a speech as an outstanding graduate, he added this sentence when introducing himself. So, in those years, it was not only me who used little tricks to confess my love to Leo. Leo was also showing his love to me in his own way. My eyes became red-rimmed. Leo tightened his arm around me, raised his hand and placed it on my bulging belly, looking very happy. Leo loves Shine very, very much. I curled my lips. What a coincidence. Shine also loves Leo very much.